It's Two on the Aisle with me, Charles Gross, and Jeff Goodman. Tonight we review Jay Johnson, the Two and Only, A Chorus Line, and the cast recordings of Title of Show and Vernada Alba. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Two on the Aisle.
Wasn't that amazing? You almost said albums.
But as far as I'm concerned, these are cast albums.
They are original cast recordings. That is what they officially
But you know what? I bet the creators of Title of Show would be very happy to call it an album.
There are 3 words there. What does it say?
Well, you have it upside down.
Sorry. You can't read upside down?
I can, but I choose not to. Original cast recording.
And let's see what this one says.
Okay.
Nothing. Well, it says there.
It says also, it says world premiere recording.
So basically, they're not calling them records, they're not calling CDs, it's just a recording.
I see. So this is a recording?
That's right.
Okay. Well, Lily Tomlin was
We're
there.
the phone company, we don't have to. We don't care, we don't have the phone company.
Yeah. All right, very good. Lily Tomlin was calling them recordings when they were still albums, so she was so far ahead of her time.
Amazing.
Speaking of amazing, let's talk about Jay Johnson, the Two and Only. Now, Jay Johnson, probably best known for his role as Chuck and Bob on Soap, has taken...
Well, Jay Johnson was Chuck.
That's
Bob was played by Bob.
Well, yeah, but, Jay's a ventriloquist, so he was actually
No,
playing
Bob was
both.
Bob.
Okay.
Ask Bob. Who's Bob?
Well, I've actually invited Jay on the show, but I asked him to bring Squeaky, but we'll get to that a little later.
Okay.
This is a show where he...
Is he coming on the show?
Well, we'll see.
Beg him right now. Jay, come on the show. We'll be the 4 and only then.
And
well, with me, maybe the 5 and
Jay not only does his ventriloquist act with Bob and with various other partners, but he also gives us a history of ventriloquism.
Mm-hmm.
And here we learn how Jay personally became a ventriloquist, how he got his first real partner, who was Squeaky, and how he had to abandon Squeaky for Bob when Soap came along because, well, apparently the creators of Soap thought that poor Squeaky just wasn't
mean enough.
Right for the
Squeaky was too nice
for the role. But in addition, he makes a tennis ball talk. He has this bird called, I think it's called Nevermore, a raven who will, a vulture. And at one point, he takes a slate and just draws on it.
That was the most brilliant part of the show.
And it starts talking to him.
Mm-hmm. It was absolutely brilliant. That was brilliant.
Okay. Gloria, is the tape cued? Are we ready? Can we go to a roll-in?
We're looking for it,
Okay.
sweetheart.
Okay.
I didn't know we could talk to Gloria during... I personally am just talking to you out there. Charlie will talk to Gloria. I'm talking to you.
Yes.
I am a man of the people. Mm-hmm. But anyway...
Gloria isn't people?
Gloria is the director.
I see.
Which is only second to God in here.
I see.
So she is the director to be honored and listened to.
Okay. See how nicely he kowtows Gloria? Anyway.
And he's still talking to Gloria.
Well,
but anyway, let me tell you what I thought of the show.
Okay, tell me what you thought of the show.
While Gloria looks for the tape. I thought it was good, but I thought it had problems. It was 3 different shows.
Okay.
There was the history of ventriloquism was like sitting through ventriloquism 101 in college, and that was a problem.
Okay.
Because
they taught ventriloquism at your college?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, they did.
Okay. Good school.
SUNY Binghamton, you gotta love it.
Go.
Love it or leave it.
Okay.
So that was the first part, and that was kind of dry. Mm-hmm. The second part was when he talks about his personal experience, which became more of the Elaine Stritch kind of one person show. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That was great. That really touched my heart, and it was wonderful. And the third part is when he did his acts. Mm-hmm. Now, some of the characters I liked, some of the characters I didn't like. Some I thought were boring, some I thought were, the jokes were bad. Here's the monkey, and our good friend David Lefkowitz loves the monkey because it's a monkey joke. And it's so David's sense of humor, but it's not mine. And I told him,
what did you like?
I love Bob because I was a big Soap fan.
Yeah, I was also, and I have to say Bob was my favorite part. And
no, my favorite part was the chalkboard. That was phenomenal. Phenomenal. I mean, that was amazing.
I like that. I like Bob. But the Vulture was a close second.
I like the Vulture.
My daughter, who saw the show with me, she was running around the house singing "Of Death."
Oh, okay, yes.
Because he is the bird of death.
But my favorite part of the show was his personal story. So I really, and I really think that he felt obligated to bring in the other two portions because maybe it wasn't such a big story.
Or maybe he had to expand on the show. I found the ventriloquism lecture interesting. I agree with you.
At some point,
it was
and just minutely.
It was the weakest part of the show. I enjoyed when he talked about Arthur Sieving.
Oh, well, that's his personal,
his mentor.
It was wonderful.
And how after he died, he basically willed his puppet to him, Harry O'Shea, and Jay tells how Arthur's widow asked him to take out Harry O'Shea. And again,
that was the best part. The only part where he,
make him talk one more time, which was interesting because, Jay was only the second ventriloquist ever to touch Harry. And one thing that I would have loved to have seen was for Jay to have brought Harry on stage. Maybe he thought that would have been
No, I don't think that would have been right.
Inappropriate. But I would have liked to have seen it.
Of course, I would have too.
I would have liked.
But I was really happy in the playbill that he has pictures of all these people that he talks about, and his mentor. You have to realize that he met his mentor only because he tells the whole story of he was like last on the list. He was looking for someone to carve him a person.
Right.
His
puppet.
Okay.
Partner.
I was thinking with the D word, but they don't like to be called dummies.
Yes.
But and I just thought it was very touching that he found this older gentleman who wasn't doing it, and he did one last carving, and it was.
And that was Squeaky. And then there's the irony that just as he hit it big, he had to break up with Squeaky, and he actually recreates this. He takes Squeaky out and says, "Listen, Squeaky, you're not right for it."
That was a touching moment. It really was a great touching moment because it shows his relationship with the puppet because. And he talked about it within the dry lecture.
Right. I mean, this was to be his partner for life, and now Squeaky really gets a very short because essentially, the act that he used to do with Squeaky, he's now doing with Bob. And I have to say, I love Bob.
Well, you have to love Bob.
But I do feel a little sorry for Squeaky. So actually, Squeaky is also invited on the aisle to tell his side. How are we doing on the roll-in? Any luck?
Ready,
Okay.
don't pull it until I get that
Okay. We have to talk a little more.
I was having no problem. You keep talking to Gloria.
I like Gloria.
But Gloria's the director. We don't talk to the director. We talk to the people.
Okay.
Man of the people.
But
I love you. Charlie may love Gloria, but I love the people out there.
oh, stop sucking up. You're
Why?
a critic. Have some dignity.
No, I like the people.
Fine, and I'm sure they love you, brother. Anyway.
Excuse me?
Mm-hmm. See how my lips aren't moving when he talks? Anyway.
Well, I'm not your partner for life, Charlie.
Well, but I didn't dump you when I hit the big time in TV, did I? I brought you with me, which is more than Squeaky got.
See, we go down. I was going to say we go down together, but that wouldn't work well.
Yes.
As the ship sinks, I'll sink with you. How's that? We haven't really. I have news for you, Charlie. Mm-hmm. We haven't really made it big in TV. I know it's a big. Charlie's all upset.
We're on YouTube now, and Video Google.
How many hits have we gotten?
You'd be surprised. A little more. Multiply it by 100.
We haven't got 500 hits. Maybe 500 slaps. We didn't get 500 hits. No way.
Way. We're popular.
By the way, someone in St. Louis stole the title of our show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I have to tell you. I forgot to tell you that.
So did Carmmed and Green. Of course, they did it about 50 years before we did the show, but
we took it from them.
Okay, I think we're ready for that roll-in now. So let's take a look at Jay Johnson, the two and only.
Kill. No, I don't kill. I don't hunt. I don't fly. I don't do that. But you're the bird of death. Of death, yes. But I'm a vulture. I wait. Wait, I wait. I watch it. I wait. When it dies, lunch. You wait till it dies. That's a lot easier that way. You know what I call a Reddit? What? Fast food. I'm trying to say that. So you just wait till something dies. I watch it. I wait. It dies. I eat. Wait, watch, die, eat. Yes. So you're a Weight Watcher. Of death. Of death. Right, of course. So you have a sense when something is dying. Yes, I have that feeling now. Told me specifically that it's a compliment, really. They think that you look too sweet to play the part of Bob. Well, get a f***ing chisel. Come on, Jake! No, that's not the way it works. It's just your... I said, you understand what I said? I don't understand what you're saying. If you don't know what I'm saying, that you don't know how to say, so you don't know how to answer. Do you understand that? Uh-huh. I did not. Yes, you did. Look, I know. What can do it? What can do it? What can do it? You can't do it. You cannot talk. Let's say all the analogies of this kind of trick I did a scene and I'm not going to try to do it. Don't waste my time trying to teach you how to do it. The fact is... Sounded wrong here. Wait a minute. Oh, my God. What happened? I don't know. I was doing hello, hello, and I got stuck like this. That's my voice. That's 9.
Okay.
Well, it seems like your nice, friendly puppet had to get edited for New Jersey.
Well, maybe he wasn't so nice after all, but...
He had
Listen,
quite a little vocabulary.
Listen, he just got dumped. What do you expect from him? I mean, come on. Interesting stories, but Jay Johnson, he's a talented actor because, you know, Jeff, this may come as a surprise to you, but he's actually doing the voices for all those characters.
No, really?
Yeah. You know, a very talented ventriloquist, and it was a really entertaining show. Quick, interesting anecdote that he tells. When he first was doing...
Anecdote?
Anecdote, yes. When he first was doing soap, they could hear him, but they couldn't hear Bob. And it turned out the reason was every time Bob talked, the sound man was moving the microphone over to Bob and not to Jay.
That's one of those the stories that he tells in his life stories that makes it so interesting.
But something interestingly, about 60 years prior to that, you remember Paul Winchell?
Yes.
He was doing television for the first time, and the first 2 times he tried to go on television, the exact same thing happened to him.
You'd think the sound guy would have learned.
You'd think. All right, moving on.
To what?
Well, to one of the most...
Are we moving on to one singular sensation?
Yes, we are. One of the most popular musicals of all time.
It's a thrilling combination.
One of the longest running musicals in its original incarnation. In fact, it
Every
was
move
the
it
longing musical. One of the most famous, one of the most jarring, one of the most recognizable musicals.
It was actually a
Chorus
trendsetter.
line. Well,
It was really an amazing musical.
a chorus line. Well, it still is.
It's still, well, sort of.
Yeah, really.
Well, the first time, a chorus line was so new and it was so different when it came out.
True.
Because it was all about the people and it was their stories on stage.
Mm-hmm.
And even when I saw it after, in the original run, it had that feeling like it was their story. But this run, I felt like they were playing characters. Not that I didn't love it. I loved the show. And I liked the presentation, but I just didn't feel it was, I felt they were playing characters, not themselves.
Well, number one, you're right, they were. But the interesting thing is, you know, a lot of our colleagues have said it's too soon to bring it back. It's, you know, without
Too soon, they're bringing back Les Mis. It only closed like 2 years ago.
Well, I'm sure they'll say the same thing. You know, it doesn't quite make the impact. To me, this revival, and remember, this is the first...
Oh, this made a big impact on me.
Me too, and maybe because we were sitting in the front row. I mean, literally the front. And I normally don't comment on the seats that I get.
I was A1, he was A2.
But when you're right there, I mean, you can see them sweat, you can see them breathing heavy. At one point, I kept applauding because I wanted to give them a rest. And or at one point, the assistant choreographer, you know, the actor playing him, was blocking my view. So I just kind of sat back, and just to get into the mood of things, I pretended, well, I'm one of the producers of the show watching this, but I have to keep quiet. Because I just wanted to go up and talk to some of them and say, hey, it's okay, don't worry. You know, it's only a play, and
really?
I had an impact. This show had an impact on me that when I saw the original chorus line, I didn't see it with the original cast, but when I saw the original production, it did not have, and which I found very interesting. What? The impact that I think chorus line originally had on most people, it had on me here, and it didn't. And the interesting thing is this is probably the first time since the original cast that an entire cast has come together on Broadway at the same time and had to do the whole show together. And in this case, think about it. People were being replaced during the run. And so they're together, which was kind of the thing. You know, A Chorus Line did spawn a lot of imitations, working among others, where you had people talking about themselves. But the difference is that we saw them as individuals and as a group, whereas in other shows we really didn't. I mean, the successor to A Chorus Line, the show that really invokes A Chorus Line, even though it really has no dancing, is the 25th Annual Putnam County Spelling Bee, because we learn about them as individuals and we see them as a competition.
Right.
And if I were to be a little cruder, I would say something like The Amazing Race or Survivor is in many ways like A Chorus Line.
Well, because it's the reality of it. This is really reality theater.
Exactly. Except that it's not.
And I'll also tell you, I did get a different feeling from this, also in a good way, because I had a much bigger appreciation of what the words were, what the characters were talking about. And it's just because we're older and we've been in theater longer. So we have a greater appreciation of what actors do and how they get there. So when to learn the backstory, you know, I hate to say it, we were both young when we saw it the first time, you know, and now we're not.
But the interesting thing is the last time I saw it, I was probably about the same age as some of those dancers.
Right.
And now we're, you know, older than any of them would be.
Yeah, right. The first time I saw it, I think I was probably younger than most of the dancers.
Well, I certainly was. I was a teenager, and the second time I was in college.
So with age comes wisdom and also understanding and experience. And that's why Chorus Line is different. Everyone takes it at a different level. It's really amazing.
Because I've always enjoyed A Chorus Line, but I've never, until now, I really never thought, I never thought this was a truly incredibly great musical. I thought it was a good musical. It had an impact. I thought, well, you know, a little too liberal on the profanity and on the sexual situations. Maybe it has to be. And of course now...
It has to be. It's true.
It's truth. And sometimes it's shocking. It was shocking just to be shocking.
Do you want to know something? This time, well, the first time I saw it...
Now that we're kind of expecting that, I mean, people are not as shocked by someone declaring they're gay.
Right.
You know, or not.
But there were different levels of that too, because there was the big tall dancer in the middle who was just, he was fabulous. It was just, you know, he was right out there. And then there was other guys who just like kind of were coming out. All different types. There were people who were in the theater for a long time, people who knew the director, people who was their first audition. But
I mean, this is a show that has a whole number about a woman talking about her plastic surgery at a time where people really didn't talk about it, especially using the language that she did.
Yes, but
and I must say, Jessica Lee Golin as Val, who does the number, pulls out all the stops.
She does the T&A number.
Yes,
as it were.
Dance 10 looks 3 is its actual name.
That's what I told you. You told me the other time.
Although no one ever refers to it as such anymore.
But I was just going to tell you that the first time I saw it, the kid story about the one Puerto Rican kid who was coming who eventually has a problem with his knee. That really touched me the first time. It didn't touch me as other things touched me this time.
Really?
It was really amazing how different I felt.
I don't know. Maybe I think part of it may be because we were so close up that it had the impact. Maybe again we were older.
I just think the words. I mean, I didn't get the stuff like at one point after he hurts his knee, someone goes, they're looking for a doctor or something, and someone goes, does anyone have a Valium or something? And she goes, and of course Sheila goes, I have one.
Yes, that's Deidre Goodwin, who is...
Deidre Goodwin is amazing.
I wanted to go up to her and says, it's okay, in 20 years you'll be Emily Gilmore, and I'll explain that later.
Okay. But anyway, so she goes, and I never got the line before, because after she says that, someone goes, are you sure it's okay? And she goes, don't worry, I've taken 3 already. I didn't get half the lines when I first saw it. Or I saw it, I think, 3 or 4 times in the original cast. I didn't get it as much. I didn't get the words, the story in the book. I got much more this time. The raw emotion and the feeling I got in the first times I saw it.
No, the interesting thing is I got that this time. I got so much more out of this production than I ever got out of seeing the original.
And you can't tell me that What I Did for Love, totally different feeling between the time you first saw it and the time.
I guess.
Because the first time I remember the first time I saw it, I said, what are they talking about love for? But
no, that I could.
See, I didn't. It was weird.
You know, I really understood a lot of it, and I could identify to an extent with it. I mean, listen, I'm not a Broadway dancer, and I never will be. But you know,
I am.
Career. Well, of course.
Wait till you see me in my giant tutu.
I'll wait. But, you know, oh, great.
But what?
No, I'm trying to get an image of you in a
a
giant
tutu?
tutu out of my mind.
Stop your fantasies, Charlie.
Yeah, but all in all, it really had a much stronger impact for me than it ever has, and I
See,
enjoyed
this
it.
I-
I don't think it's too soon to bring it back, and
No, definitely not.
I don't think I think not changing it actually.
Oh, I'm so
works.
glad they left in the Robert Goulet, because he's kind of out of date, and everyone still had the tacky 80s, 70s clothing.
I don't think they were tacky, but
Oh, did you see some of the colors?
okay.
Would you wear that?
Well, again, not being a dancer, I don't wear tights too often.
And, all right, well,
Okay.
they didn't all wear tights.
Okay, we have some scenes from a chorus
Oh, good,
line.
good.
So
You'll enjoy it.
let's take a look at a chorus line.
5, 6, 7, 8. Everything was beautiful at the ballet. Graceful men lift lovely girls in white. Yes, everything was beautiful at the ballet. I was happy at the ballet. And the chance to dance.
I still get a little emotional watching that,
I know. Now, I love this. I love this show a lot more than I ever did as a result. Of seeing
Me
this.
too.
Let's see. Natalie Cortez is Diana Morales, who sings "What I Did for Love." That was the role initiated by Priscilla Lopez.
Who also sings about Mr. Carp.
Yes. I felt nothing. The one disappointment actually was with Charlotte D'Ambrose.
Really?
Well, she plays Cassie. That was the Donna McKechnie role,
And-
and she's got this big number, the music and the mirror, and that's the highlight of the show. And it really fell flat.
Do you wanna know
I don't
something?
know if it's the choreography or just because she's a talented dancer. This was supposed to be her big breakout. Everyone's been rooting for this woman ever since she lost Sweet Charity.
Yeah, well, it's not real. The thing is, you realize also that it's just another role, even though it's a role of a dancer who's made it and comes back to the chorus line, or sort of made it. She made it, but she can't really hold it.
Because she can't act,
Yeah.
apparently.
Well,
In her
whatever the
words.
reason.
Whatever. She
But
needs to
but
start
she's
from
coming
she-
back.
yeah.
She's taking a step down and realizing her limitations. She's coming back to the chorus
Or
line.
just there temporarily until she can work it out.
And I got a whole new...
I think she's going to break out again.
I got a whole
hope.
new appreciation of that song. I really did. I wasn't disappointed because I just took it as it's part of the ensemble. It's not a breakout. But what I did get was also I loved the fact this show more than when I saw it the first time. Showed you the fact it didn't really make a difference who got the parts. Because can you tell me who got the parts? Because there were only 4.
I know Cassie did. I know Val did.
Okay. But
Sheila did not.
Right.
Because she had the attitude problem. Mm-hmm. The married couple, the wife was the one who couldn't sing, did not. Mm-hmm. I believe I think Diana Morales
All right,
made it.
so you remember. But to me, the whole thing.
Hey, when you're a producer, you have to note these things.
Okay, right. Well, Charlie's a producer. Okay, but
I want to be a producer. Okay.
okay, but there's already a show like that on Broadway. But it just after seeing it, I just realized that, boy, the whole show is really about. It doesn't matter who gets the part and who doesn't get the part. They're all individuals. And the whole thing that the one...
Well, it does matter to them, but it could have been anyone. It doesn't matter to us because we're rooting for all
right.
of them.
Well, it also shows the big number was such a blur because given the costumes, you couldn't even see their...
You're talking about the final number.
The final number is great only because of this big flashy number that really doesn't matter. And given the costumes, it doesn't matter who's in the costume, just that someone's there.
Right, and again, the show really, again, most of us are used to the show. We know the show, so it's not as, we don't find it as crude as we used to because we're expecting it all, but it can be.
But it's brilliant in the fact that
and it does.
We usually take a chorus
line. It did
line,
have the impact.
We take the chorus people for granted, and there are wonderful individuals in that chorus line.
Let's talk about a few wonderful individuals.
Okay.
This is the cast recording.
The original cast recording.
But I bet its creators would call it an album because title of show, which we reviewed a few weeks ago on Two on the Aisle, is this wonderful, entertaining little show about writing a musical.
Writing an entertaining little show.
Right, exactly. And this is an entertaining little cast album, and I say that because I think its creators, Jeff Bowen and Hunter Bell, would call it that. And they kind of, in keeping with the show, there's this one number, for example, that they say, oh, wait, hey, stop this number. Why? We agreed we weren't going to put it on the CD. But we are. But it's a good number. I like it too, but it doesn't belong. And so they try to invoke the feeling.
Right.
At the end, they thank all the studio people, all the people who we take for granted.
Right.
And if the show had a chorus line, I'm sure they'd hang them also. And it has the best parts of the show. What I liked about the show was its beginning when they are trying to get this play into a contest. Ooh.
Well,
Okay.
it looks like our time is up.
All right. Bottom line is, if you like title of show, you love the album.
And we'll
in
probably
fact,
remind you on a future episode.
it doesn't
as
even
well.
it doesn't even have the latter part of the show, which kind of sagged a bit. So it's a good album. All right.
It's a good CD, actually.
It's a good CD.
A good original cast recording.
Yes. Chorus line. 5 playbills.
I'll give it a nice solid 4.
I agree. 4 playbills. Jay Johnson, the 2 and only.
I give it about 3 3/4.
I'm going to give it 4. I like ventriloquists ever since I saw Danny O'Day doing the Nestle's Quick commercials.
Chocolate.
Title of show.
Title of show, excellent CD, a little small, so I give it a 3.5.
I'm going to give it a 4, which is interestingly more than I gave for the actual off-Broadway show. And when you go to the theater, look for Jeff and me, us too.
On the Aisle.
See, my lips didn't move.
Chocolate.
Thank you, Farfel.
Where are the little words that are coming?
They're coming.